Welcome to the Unapologetic EDGE, the podcast for women leaders ready to lead on their terms. No apologies, just real talk, strength, and bold moves. I'm Dr. Shannon Sims, founder of Athena's Ally. If you're here to own your leadership with confidence, you're in the right place. So let's dive in. Hey friends, it's Dr. Shans, and this is the Unapologetic EDGE. And I had an epiphany the other day, or maybe it was just an observation, of a qualified, capable, intelligent woman leader who made a reasonable assertion in a conversation and proceeded to set a boundary and then apologize. And in doing so, slouched her shoulders in, taking up less space in the conversation and in the room, subconsciously. And in the moment, I didn't fully process what was happening other than I was wanting to take up more space and to step in on her behalf. But in the moment, you don't do that because then you undermine the individual. And it took me time after to try to figure out what was actually happening. And when I trained as a mental health therapist, the process was really all about really being aware of what was going on in the dynamics by paying attention to what was going on internally. And what I realized is she was making herself physically smaller without even realizing it. And it made me start to think about how we as women often hide in plain sight and what that does to us mentally. I think that we are not invisible because we are not valuable. We are sometimes invisible in our organizations because we were taught to lead without taking up space. And I want you to sit with that for a second because it's a powerful concept and it's a painful concept. And I want you to take a breath on it, especially if you've been carrying the weight of doing everything right. And sometimes we carry that weight and we don't even realize we're carrying that weight. Like we can't make a misstep. Many women carry this weight of perfectionism and it gets in our way because then we can't make a step or we can't finish something until it's perfect. Meanwhile, our colleagues are running loops around us because they are getting stuff done. And progress over perfection gets things. It's the mantra of agile methodology, right? You fix it as you go, move then improve. But if you're carrying this weight of doing everything right, and then you start to wonder why no one's noticing, why your name isn't coming up for maybe the opportunities after you've already proven that you can handle things. You're not imagining it, and you're definitely not broken. And you're not the only one. So if you've ever walked out of a meeting thinking, did anyone even hear me? Or if you've stayed late, or you picked up the slack, or you've led through chaos, or you've coached your team through burnout, and then you're told you're not quite ready, then this conversation is for you. So what's really going on here? This isn't about you, and this definitely is not just about them either. This is about the tension between how you've been taught to lead and how leadership gets seen in your specific organization. Women, especially those of us in our mid and senior level leadership, have been conditioned to lead through execution. So we over-prepare, we over-deliver, we keep our heads down sometimes, and sometimes we just hope that our results will speak for themselves. I had a woman tell me once that they felt like their faith told them that it was not right to self-promote or to advocate for themselves because it was bragging, and that was, immodest, right? And so that also held them back. So they kept their heads down, and that their results would speak for themselves, right? So that was very challenging. Meanwhile, what often gets rewarded in organizations isn't just the outcomes, it's visibility. So it's who's seen owning the outcomes, not just who's doing the work, who's actually owning the outcomes. So if you're doing the work and somebody else is promoting that work, they're seen as the one who's owning the outcomes, right? They're the ones taking the credit for all of your hard work. And it isn't right. Dr. Herminia Ibarra from London Business School put it this way. Some women tend to build credibility through performance, and men through perception. And the catch, in many leadership contexts, perception trumps performance. Perception is reality, right? So what do? We keep proving ourselves, and we work harder, and we burn the candle at both ends, and we often take on more than we should, just to feel like maybe we'll finally look ready, so that someone else will see that we're ready. And this belief holds us back, right? So many women internalize this. If I just keep delivering, someone will notice. And it feels logical, it feels safe, but it doesn't always work, because being seen as leadership material isn't just about output. It's about presence, and it is about positioning. There's a study out of the University of Exeter that showed that individuals who volunteered for visible tasks, even when they weren't the most senior or the most experienced, were perceived as more competent, more confident, and more promotable. And that study was done just in 2020. So this wasn't done like back in the 70s. This is a very recent study. So let me say it again. People believe in you when you believe in yourself. So you've got to become your own PR team, basically. And no, that's not self-promotion, like in a braggart, like this braggadocio, arrogant way. It's self-advocacy. Maybe you didn't speak up as clearly as you wanted to, or maybe that certification could help you in this in this specific role, or maybe you actually should be leading in this organization, but those are context specific. They're not universal truths about who you are. They're rules written in the culture of one environment. So if the rules don't make sense for you, you're allowed to choose how much weight you give them. So what can you do with this insight? Let's talk about how you move forward, because, I'm not just here to commiserate with you, right? I'm here to help you get context and be aware of what's going on around you so that you can make a power move. And power moves always start with that one step, with an action. Like Nike says, right? You just got to do it. So here are 4 simple power moves that will help you step out of hiding without selling your soul or becoming someone that you are not. So 4 simple ones. So listen and think about which one of these you can start doing today that will help you to stop hiding and being invisible. You don't have to do them all, just pick one. The first one is just start documenting your leadership in motion, right? You're already doing powerful stuff, but if you can't name them, then you can't claim them. So instead of just tracking your tasks, start tracking what your leadership moments are. And you can call it a brag sheet if you want, but it's your evidence file. And it gives you your language, your clarity, your confidence when it's time to advocate for yourself. So every week, find a time with your cup of tea, with your cup of coffee, or maybe with a cocktail right at the end of the week. Each week, you're going to capture a challenge that you helped navigate. Literally, find some place to write it down, whether you like a pen and paper in your journal or you like it to have it digitally. I think it's probably better if you have it digitally, because then you can, get it into a performance evaluation or put it into a PowerPoint chart or whatever you like to use to get it in front of your leaders. But you're going to capture 4 things. You're going to capture a challenge you helped navigate, a decision that you influenced, a result that changed because of your leadership, and a moment when someone turned to you for direction. I remember when I was a young leader, and one of my leaders said, "This is the time." It was when I was going through my conversations for promotion, and I was advocating and talking about my business case for promotion to leadership, and the conversations shifted from the team to I led this instead of the team. And it was a very different feel, because I wanted to make sure that the team got credit. And they were like, "Yep, there's a time and a place that the team gets credit, and you will make sure that they get the credit that they need, because you will have a seat at the table to make sure that they get the bonuses and the merit increases and the spot recognition and the time off. But right now it's about you, and you say, I led X. I achieved Y, right? So your example is, I led the process that helped us avoid a major delay last quarter. It saved the team 3 weeks of backlog. It's clear, it's confident, it's factual, boom. You just built the narrative. It's your narrative. This isn't about spotlighting every move. It's about the record of your ripple effect, right? So that when someone asks, what's your impact? What do you do here? Why are you valuable? You don't minimize it. You step in and you own it. So number 2, say your wins out loud like Snoop Dogg would. I don't know if you guys remember the viral moment when Snoop Dogg accepted his award. I love it. I'm a Snoop Dogg fan. My dad was a Snoop Dogg fan. I'm a Snoop Dogg fan. But he said, I want to thank me for believing in me, right? It's funny, but it's also really powerful. And I love his affirmations, right? You're allowed to acknowledge your impact, but still be humble, still be kind. But this is leadership, and it's part of leadership is learning how to state the value you bring with clarity and calm confidence. So try this. I'm proud of how I de-escalated that client issue and still kept us on deadline. It's a fact, not a brag. And that's leadership in motion. Number 3, show up where your voice matters. You do not need to be everywhere, and you do not need to be everything to everyone. But you do need to be somewhere that makes you visible. And I know that as soon as I said that, you know exactly where it is and who it needs to be in front of. So you speak up in that meeting, and you submit the idea to the innovation team, and you raise your hand to lead the project that aligns with your strengths. Don't wait for the invitation. Create the moment, show up for it, and do it. Visibility is built through momentum, not magic. You make the opportunities that you want. And number 4, redefine what it means to put yourself first. I think this is probably the biggest one. Putting yourself first doesn't mean that you're abandoning your team or you're being self-centered. And that is really, really important. You have to make time for you. It's probably one of the biggest have-tos. It's maybe the only have-to. It means taking care of your energy, your boundaries, and your growth. so that you can lead from a place of intention, not depletion. Saying no to one more last-minute fire drill isn't failure, it's clarity. Asking for the opportunity that stretches you isn't overreaching, it's alignment. Saying, I want more than this isn't betrayal, it's candor, it's honesty. So when you put yourself first, you model something really, really powerful. That your needs matter. That you matter. That you value yourself. That you are worthwhile. And that your leadership is built to last. So if you and I were sitting down together right now with a cup of tea, here's what I'd say. You don't have to wait for someone to name your value. You don't have to prove yourself one more time to earn the right to be seen. You don't have to hide in the hopes that one day it will all make sense, because you already make sense, and your leadership makes sense, and your work has value, and you have value. It's time to stop hoping that someone will say you're ready and to start showing up like you already are. And if you want a space where you can practice that, where you can build your visibility muscle without judgment or performance pressure, then come join me inside the Unapologetic EDGE community. This is where smart, driven, purpose-led women get real about what it takes to lead clear, boldly, and unapologetically. There's no fluff, and there's no fake it till you make it. It's just truth, strategy, and support from women who get it. You can find the link in the show notes. So if this conversation made you exhale a little deeper today, share it. Text it to a colleague, forward it to a friend, or drop it in your team Slack channel. And follow the show so you don't miss what's coming next. We're just getting started. So I'm Dr. Shands, and I'll see you next time on the Unapologetic EDGE.